All right, let's get into it. Today, we are digging deep, and I mean literally, into the absolutely incredible geological story of the Indian subcontinent. It's a tale of massive collisions, ancient oceans, and unbelievable treasures hidden right under our feet. Have you ever really stopped to think about what you're standing on? I don't just mean the dirt and the pavement, but the rock, the foundation. That's miles deep. Well, it turns out it's telling a story that started way, way before any of us were around. And when I say way before, I'm talking 4 billion years. That is the kind of mind-boggling timescale we're dealing with here. The land that we call India has been built, broken, and rebuilt over a stretch of time that's honestly hard to even wrap your head around. So a good way to think about this explainer is like it's a biography, but not of a person, right? It's the biography of a landmass. We're going to trace its life story from its very first moments all the way to today. Okay, so here's our roadmap. We'll kick things off in the Archaean era, which built the foundation. Then we'll jump to the Proterozoic, which is when all this amazing mineral wealth got locked away. We'll get a quick peek at the Paleozoic, then dive into the Mesozoic, think dinosaurs and coal. And we'll finish with the Cenozoic and the absolutely massive collision that gave us the Himalayas. Let's start at the very, very beginning, the Archaean era. We're talking about the oldest rocks here, the original foundation of India that formed almost 4 billion years ago. These are super old rocks, like greens, granite, and schist, all forged in crazy heat and pressure deep inside the earth. Today, you can actually see this ancient bedrock in places like the Aravalli Hills and the Chota Nagpur Plateau. All right, so the foundation is built. Now we move into the Proterozoic era. And this is where the story gets really good, because this is when the Earth basically started filling up a treasure chest, locking away incredible mineral wealth deep in the crust for us to find billions of years later. This period it was so crucial. It lasted from about 2.5 billion years ago all the way to about 540 million years ago. And during this time, the geological conditions were just perfect for creating some of the most valuable stuff that fuels India's industries right now. This table really shows you how ancient rocks connect to our modern economy. Take the Darwar rocks in Karnataka. They are just packed with iron and manganese, which is, the absolute backbone of the steel industry. And the other systems have different treasures. The Kadapa system in Andhra Pradesh gives us building materials like limestone. The Vindhyan system in central India, that's where you get that beautiful red sandstone for famous buildings and even diamonds. It's like each layer holds a different prize. So now, our journey takes us forward into a world of giant reptiles and shifting continents. This next chapter, covering the Paleozoic and Mesozoic eras, is all about how a resource that would one day power an entire nation came to be. I'm talking about coal. Okay, so for a while, the geological record gets a little spotty. Rocks from the Paleozoic era, that's the one right before the dinosaurs, are actually pretty hard to find in India. You can see some in the Himalayas, like in the Spiti Valley, but the Mesozoic era, the age of dinosaurs, that left a huge mark. It gave us these massive volcanic formations, like the Rajmahal traps in eastern India. But the most important thing it did was set the stage for something else. And that brings us to a super important name you need to know, the Gondwana system. Now, this is not just another random rock type. It's a very specific series of rocks named after the ancient supercontinent Gondwana, which India used to be a part of. And you find these rocks all across central and eastern India, especially in the river valleys. So why should you care about the Gondwana system? Well, the answer is right there. It holds pretty much all of India's coal. Just picture it. The massive, swampy forests from the age of the dinosaurs getting buried, squashed, and cooked over millions of years. That's what became the huge coal deposits that power so much of the country today. It's an amazing example of how ancient life is literally fueling our modern world. And now we have reached the main event, the geologic grand finale. This is the climax of our whole 4 billion year story. We're talking about the most dramatic, the most recent, and honestly, the most spectacular chapter, the birth of the Himalayas. To see this, we gotta fast forward to the Cenozoic era. Hey, that's our era. It kicked off about 65 million years ago, right after the dinosaurs checked out, and it's technically still going on. This is when the map of India that we all recognize really started to take its final shape. So how did this all go down? Well, for millions of years, India was basically this giant island, just drifting north. Then it headed for a collision with the massive Eurasian continent, and the impact was just unbelievable. The land had nowhere to go but up, buckling and folding under all that pressure to create the Himalayas. But that's not where the story stops, because new rivers started flowing down from these new mountains, carrying tons of silt and sand south. And over thousands of years, they built the enormous, fertile Indo-Gangetic plains. Okay, so let's put it all together. This 4 billion-year saga isn't just some abstract science lesson. It's the story of the very ground we live on. It's an ancient legacy, written in stone, that defines the India we know today. When you really connect the dots, you see how it all fits. That ancient Archaean bedrock gives the subcontinent its stability. The Proterozoic rocks hold the minerals for our industries. The Gondwana system gives us the coal to power our lives. And that recent Cenozoic collision? It gave us the Himalayas that control our climate, and the fertile plains that feed hundreds of millions of people. Every single piece of this deep history has a direct line to our lives today. From the oldest foundations to the youngest mountains, India's story is one of immense time and incredible change. It's just a powerful reminder that the ground beneath our feet isn't static. It's a living record of the past. So that leaves us with one last question to think about. What story will the rocks of our time tell millions of years from now?